Let's be real. How many times have you set a goal only to fall completely off track? Maybe you were motivated at the start, you were ready, and you had a plan. But then life happened. You got busy. You lost motivation. You started doubting yourself. And before you know it, your goal was just another abandoned resolution. But today we're going to fix that because the way most people set goals, it's broken. They write down what they want, maybe get some deadlines, but they never really create the most important thing to attach to the goal itself. And that's the secret I'm going to share with you today. This is a part of my Timewave Goal-Setting Process, which I haven't actually seen been posted online or anything of the sort. So maybe this will flop and I don't really care as long as it helps one person. But today I'm going to teach you a completely different way to set goals, one that's actually designed for long-term success. And the first step is called the high tide method. So if you've ever struggled to stay consistent, if you've ever felt like you're just not a disciplined person, this method will change how you set goals forever. Let's get into it. So here's the problem. Most people set goals like this. I want to get fit. I want to study more. I want to make more money. This sounds really good on paper and this looks fine. But the problem is your brain doesn't care. Why? It's because these goals are way too vague and they're disconnected from real life. They're super uninspiring. Your brain is wired to experiences, not ideas. Think about it. If I tell you to imagine a delicious, shiny red apple that tastes as sweet as honey, you can instantly picture one in your mind. You can see it and you can maybe even taste it. But if I say imagine success, nothing really pops into your head. Maybe some vague, blurry image of a trophy or a pile of money or someone standing on a mountain looking super inspirational and motivational. This is exactly why most people fail at their goals. Because if your brain can't see it, feel it, and experience it in your mind, you won't work toward it. So that's where the high tide method comes in. And this is the first step in something I call the Timewave Goal-Setting Process. So what exactly is a high tide moment and how does this actually change the way you set goals? Well, high tide moment is not just a goal. It's a scene. It's a feeling. It's a reality. It's the exact moment where you know you've succeeded. Let's say your goal is like to get fit, right? Right now, your brain sees that as more of a do more exercise rather than getting fit and imagining the success that you get when you're feeling fit. So when your brain is thinking of it as do more exercise, it's boring. It's not inspiring. But if you use the high tide method to create a mental movie of what success looks like, instead of I want to be fit, it becomes much more motivational and real for you, right? So once you create it, your brain starts working toward making it real. So let's actually break down how we can do this step by step. So the first thing we need to do is set a specific scene, right? Set a specific scene. So most people say, I want to be successful. Okay, but what does that actually look like? Your brain needs to see it, not just hear about it. So close your eyes and fast forward to the exact moment where you know you've made it. Where are you? What are you doing? Who's around you? If there's anyone around you, what time of day is it? What season is it? If you can even get that level of specific, right? I have some examples here, right? The easiest one is the getting fit one and maybe even the business or money or academic goal thing. But let's just start with the fitness one. So instead of just saying, I want to be fit or I want to get fit, picture this instead. It's a crisp morning in September. I'm standing at the finish line of my first 10-kilometer run. My heart is pounding, my legs are burning, but I feel unstoppable. I check my watch. It's my fastest time yet. I actually did it. This is much more real because your brain now knows what it's chasing. It knows the exact feeling that you'll be at, right? Let's break this down further, right? Instead of saying, I want to study more or get better grades, picture this. It's the morning of my final exam. I'm sitting at my desk, flipping through the questions. They're tough, but I'm calm. I've seen this before. My pen glides across the page as I break down each problem step by step. I know I've got this. How much more powerful is that rather than just saying, I want to study more? Because this makes it real. This makes it a scene in your head. Let's do one more. This one's business and money. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, picture this. It's a Friday afternoon. I'm sitting at my desk, looking at my bank account. The notification pops up. My first big paycheck from my own business. I close my laptop, lean back, and take a deep breath. I've built this. I've made it happen. So when you're doing your goal setting, when you're doing your scene setting, creating and transforming your goals from just super general, vague little things like I want to be fit into a whole scene where you're imagining what it feels like, where you know where you're going, where you know who you're doing it with and the time and season and stuff, it makes it more real in your head, and your brain will actually start obsessing over it. Your brain will start obsessing over it. So here's another tip to activate your senses, and this is an important part of this visualization process as well. How do you make this even more powerful? Well, what do you actually see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What's happening around you? The more realistic you make your high tide moment, the more powerful it becomes, right? So literally, like, imagine yourself like on a beach, and imagine all the smells, the sounds, the feelings that you have, right? Just from looking at this image, you can already imagine, like, you can't see the sand in here, but you can probably imagine the sand under your feet, right? So when you activate your senses, it makes the visualization more real for you. So example is a public speaking goal, right? I'm standing on a stage, gripping the microphone. The spotlight is warm on my face. I hear the audience quieting down, waiting for me to speak. My voice is steady. I'm confident. My speech is flowing naturally. I take a deep breath, pause, and deliver my final point. The audience erupts in applause. I did it, right? This becomes so much more powerful. It becomes so easy to just use these to bolster your progress and your goals, right? Don't just say like, oh, I want to be fit. I want to study more. I want to do a good speech. Imagine what it actually feels like. Use your senses, right? Another tip is to attach emotion, or another step is to attach emotion to this process. This is, in my opinion, the most important part. If your goal doesn't make you feel something, right? It doesn't make you feel something, you won't care enough to stick with it. Most people focus too much on what they need to do and not how they'll feel when they get there, right? Most people focus on what they need to do and not how they'll feel when they get there. So what emotion would you feel when you're in this high tide moment? Are you proud? Are you confident? Do you have a sense of relief? Are you happy? Do you have joy? Right? Know exactly what you will feel. And here's an example, right? Your graduation. I'm standing with my diploma in my hands. My family is cheering. My friends are hugging me. I feel relief. I feel pride. I did it. I made it through the late nights, the stress, the doubt, and now I feel unstoppable. These are way better goals than just saying, I want to graduate, right? So every single point in this, I want you to actually now like use all these things and create your own high tide moment. I want you to actually take a moment to visualize your own high tide moment, right? Close your eyes and feel that moment. Write it down. And if your high tide moment doesn't actually spark an emotional response, change it until it does, right? If your goal is to ace your next test, that's fine. But try and imagine exactly what it would feel like. Right? Why would you want to ace your next test? Well, what would it make you feel? Does it make you feel more secure in the subject? Does it make you feel smarter? Do you feel like you've achieved a great sense of accomplishment? Right? What do you feel when you achieve this goal? This is what you should do when you're actually setting out goals. You need to understand and map it out like this. And then once you do this, the whole process of actually achieving those goals becomes so much easier, right? What I want you to do is once you have a clear high tide moment, I want you to write it down in this format. It's whatever date and time. I'm in this location. I'm doing this action. I feel whatever emotions I feel. I see or hear the details. These are just your other senses. I know I finally made it, or some type of the sort. Right? You can see in all these examples, I feel unstoppable. I feel relief. I feel pride. I did it, right? Every single one of these ends with I did it, because your brain is thinking, I've already gotten this. I want to work towards this. Let me keep going until we reach this. Your brain will constantly try and make this thing a reality. This is called changing your identity, right? When you change the process of what you feel is important, it makes it so much easier to do this. Okay, so here's an example that you might want to do, right? So let's just say the JMSS exam is in like August, right? So it's August 2025. I'm sitting my JMSS interview. I'm answering questions clearly, breaking down my thought processes like second nature. I'm calm, confident, and actually enjoying the challenge. I know I deserve to be here. I want you to read this goal every single week, especially whenever you feel stuck. Remind yourself where you're going. Right? Remind yourself where you're going. So this is step 1 in the Timewave method of goal setting. It is probably the most powerful goal setting thing that I've ever actually found. I haven't seen anyone talk about this. I think this is a really powerful way of going about goal setting. And if you can actually utilize this method to create progress in your life, and if you can use this method to make your goals more realistic, you're already taking the first big step in making good goals. So don't comment, don't sub, just log off and do something else now. See ya.